So it's a pleasure to have you in today's episode and to talk with you about the new ServiceNow Zurich release.
Yes.
AI platform. That's exactly as you said. But before we jump into that topic, I would like to start, first of all, with a question, a personal question.
Sure.
You are Chief Experience Officer.
That's right. Yeah.
Title that maybe not, everyone may fully grasp. So can you please walk us through what your role covers, actually?
Absolutely. So it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. And I am the Chief Experience Officer at ServiceNow. I lead both the product user experience as well as our customer experience. So I'm responsible for both, which is why I anchored on the term experience. And my roots are in design. I've worked as a product designer, a digital product designer my entire career at a number of different companies. So a large focus of what I do is on the product user experience and making sure that we're delivering value and experiences that people love to use. But we're also focused both as a company on a customer experience product, our customer service product. But I also focus on making sure our customers are able to adopt our product easily and have the support that they need. So it's a multifaceted role from both the product design through to the customer experience and their adoption and success with ServiceNow.
You were just mentioning before joining ServiceNow, you work, for example, at Google. What lessons from the consumer world were you able to translate to this to the enterprise space? And where did you maybe have to rethink your approach?
Oh, that's a great question. I do think that enterprise software needs to be just as simple, approachable, and delightful to use as consumer software, and especially in this era of AI. One of the things that you focus on very heavily as a consumer product designer is creating a product that has the kind of daily value or utility that people remember to go use it. They think of it, they know they need it, they open up the app, they spend time in it, and they're engaged with it, right? In the world of enterprise software in the past, it was deployed to a user. It was, someone was told that they needed to use a particular tool set for their job, and they didn't have as much choice. And so in that era of enterprise design, the user experience maybe wasn't prioritized the way that it should have been because people were forced essentially to use a particular type of software to do their job. Now there's a lot more autonomy and agency in those decisions. So you see products that people can choose to use for their work and adopt on their own. And then eventually IT teams have to come on board and support those software tools because they're helping with productivity in the workspace. So in the advent of AI, everyone is using AI now in their consumer lives, right? So they're becoming very familiar with using these tools to get answers with a search question or to get advice or to analyze something or get an answer. And they're using them in a very multimodal way with pictures and voice and so on. And so that value and that utility is proven out in their consumer world. They want the same thing in their enterprise world, but it's got to be just as easy to use and even more effective. I think the bar is even higher in the workplace that these experiences need to be accurate, trustworthy, actionable, deliver value, and help you be better at your job. So the bar is even higher.
Yeah. Before we talk about that, I would like to come back to one thing you said in your keynote at today's Zurich release. You mentioned it that it's not just another technology wave, but the defining shift of our time. ServiceNow has already moved through several, let's say, shifts and phases from GUI first, mobile first. Why was now the shifting to the AI first platform, as you called it, the natural next step?
I think that the power of AI is we're only scratching the surface so far. So I think that we have to think big and use our imaginations to think about where this can go and how it may help us. When we talked about in this keynote the history of how we've moved through these different ways to interact with technology, starting with command line interfaces and going into graphical user interfaces and then mobile with touchscreen interfaces, the underlying technology really hasn't changed that much, right? You're still using computational powers to do things. Now we're talking about both the technology underneath has changed dramatically. You're adding in this force multiplier of AI agents, right? Where it's not just kind of a one-to-one relationship, it's a one-to-many. You're enabling those AI agents to work autonomously and go do work on your behalf, bring it back to you as an end user. And all of that then also changes the way that you interface with that technology, which we're finding it works really well in a conversational way. What's interesting about a conversational experience and a conversational UI is that fundamentally language is a common denominator for all people, right? That is one of the most foundational ways that we all engage with each other and engage with the world. So it makes technology more accessible because you know how to converse and describe things and talk and communicate, and that's so fundamental for every human being. It actually makes it easier now to leverage the technology. So I think it's the combination of both an easier way to use technology and a more robust, powerful technology behind the scenes that makes this such a tectonic shift.
Yeah. If we talk about the shift or what's happening behind the scenes, the technology, you mentioned as well in many companies, I mean, the data behind it and the systems are often that is siloed data, complex workflows, everything. Maybe companies, work in very, very like, how do you say, like puzzles technology.
Yes. Yes.
How can organizations now successfully move onto that AI first release and unlock its value? How do you support them and help them?
Absolutely. So, ServiceNow for many years has offered a robust platform. And one of the key things we've always done is integrate with other systems of record. Okay. And we've long provided what we called an engagement layer, where you could have an interface that sits on top, right? Yeah. And so we do that through our employee experiences and our productivity worker experiences. So we're building on the same foundation of enabling people to essentially read and write data into these other systems without having to navigate into them. Okay. And so we're leveraging the same foundation that we've always had and putting AI now into that experience in a very native way. And so what we talked about today is a lot of our competitors, they're creating an AI experience that sits within their application, and it's isolated within the data that's available within that application. What we can do with ServiceNow, built on our integrations and built on Workflow Data Fabric, which gives us access to the data in these other systems, we can build an AI experience that sits on top. And so we do believe that that place of engagement will be differentiated from what anyone else can do, because it's sitting on this platform that already has a foundation of integrations, the ability to read and write into data within other systems, access that data to do things like exploring and analysis on top of the data, all in one place, where you don't have to navigate into the complexity of these other systems, even though you can transact and do actionable work within those systems.
Okay. Yeah. Just if I understood correctly, the follow-up question is, so you access the data, but you could access as well their agents? It's absolutely working together.
Both of those.
Okay.
Yeah, both of those. So we have two kind of parallel pieces to this. So one is our data fabric, where we can access the data. The other is our agent fabric. So using MCP protocols, we can have agent to agent communications. So, we have demos where, for example, our Now Assist AI agent can communicate with Microsoft Copilot, and they can actually work together. So, and the other part of this is our AI control tower, where we can govern across this agentic landscape with our AI agents as well as other AI agents, all in one interface, where you can have visibility into how they're all working together.
Yeah. You mentioned this AI experience from voice, where you said it's our most natural way of communicating and actually working. But it's over as well with web agents. And you mentioned this in your keynote, the AI Data Explorer and AI Lens, if I have that right?
Yes.
How will all these innovations change the way employees interact with the platform in the daily work? And then the follow-up question would be, and how does predictive intelligence as well play a role in this AI experience? So, and if so, in what role?
Fantastic questions. So what you heard about today are multimodal ways that people can use AI. And all it means really is that we can enable people to use the form factor or the media or the format that's most natural for them in their time and context and moment that they need. So, if you're in an environment where maybe you're traveling and you don't want to have to use an interface, you can use voice, right? Yeah. So, and also voice has a lot of promise for accessibility purposes as well, too. So for those who may have used a screen reader in the past, they will be able to talk to an interface and interact with the interface purely using their voice. So really exciting. With AI Lens, essentially that's a screen capture capability. So instead of having to describe an issue and to say, hey, I'm seeing this error message on the page and it's error number, blah, 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 and here's what's happening and I don't understand it. You literally can just trace the screen capture and put that information into the AI agent and it can understand exactly what's happening for you. With web agents, that's just basically giving you the power to interact on other websites without having to travel to them. So tedious activities like filling in a form or something like that can be done on your behalf right in front of you so you can watch it happening without you having to go and do it. So it's really just about providing the right form, providing the right mode, providing the way that you want to interact to you at the time that you need it, all in one experience. So you don't have to really think hard about which you want to do. You've got a really easy affordance that you can use if you want to go into voice mode, or if you want to take a picture, or if you want to use web agents or explore data. So really exciting ways that we're just building a lot more capabilities into one streamlined experience. And then when it comes to personalization and proactive AI as well too, I think you were asking about proactive analytics.
Predictive. I mean, what predictive analytics, actions and next best steps with all the knowledge and what I can gain from the data.
Yeah, exactly. So our agentic solutions propose plans to you that you can choose to take action on. So we're very transparent about all the reasoning that's going on as they make a diagnosis or as they make a recommendation. You can see all of that exposed in the interface. We'll show you if the AI agents are accessing other systems of record, where they're pulling data from, if they're looking at a business process, if they're looking at a knowledge base article, if they're looking at past remediations and how they worked, we'll let you know exactly the process that they're going through, and then they can proactively suggest a solution. But you'll have all the information as to how they got to that conclusion. And then we keep humans in the loop to decide to act on that. So you'll see in a lot of our demos, there's that process of here's all the analysis, here's the steps I went through, here's what I propose as a resolution, and then you can take action on it. But all of that is done proactively. And our customers can set that up with things like deep research agents. So if there are really complex things, like say for an insurance provider, right? Say there's a really complicated car accident that involves multiple people, injuries, different insurance providers, and so on. You can have a deep research agent that's working in the background, processing all the different policies, all the different, optionality that's available to those customers and coming up with a recommendation. And that can go on in the background and then be proposed to someone when it's ready to go.
Okay. So I see you really are actually, you have to, on the one side, the transparency, what the agent went through and where are the sources and where did he get the data, the information from. On the other hand, the human keeps in the loop, in the control to say, okay, whether but I want you to dig deeper into that part, or I want you to maybe look also there, and then I want to, the next step, let's do that.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Okay. So we saw as well the example of the demo of AstraZeneca, where the employee was not, the agent was not only answering questions, but exactly what you said, completing the tasks and automating fully workflows. So how does that transform the daily experience of the employee? I mean, where are we shifting there?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it will feel like you've got a team of digital employees helping serve what you need, right? So it will make everyone who is maybe an individual contributor feel like they're a manager of a team, and that team can go off and do work on their behalf, which is a really empowering feeling. And it's that force multiplier of what you can do as an individual, right? So we showed the AstraZeneca demo. For someone who is a lab manager who is responsible for making lab operations ran smoothly and all the equipment was there and so on, something that might have taken them a number of hours in terms of doing inventory and ordering new supplies and fixing things if they were broken, all of that work that was on one individual could have slowed down the work of a bunch of other lab assistants or researchers who are very highly paid experts that need to get a drug to market and make new discoveries. So now that lab manager has a team of AI agents that can help process those things, do them in a proactive way, like we talked about, and make sure that everything's running much more smoothly and there are never delays in that part of their operation.
If we're, say, talking about this example of AstraZeneca and the lab manager, it showed as well, the inventory. He was talking about you need to set up the sensors and everything. It sounds like kind of a lot of work or time that you need before and in order to be able to use the AI agents to its fullest. Where is like kind of a bit of a status quo? Are companies and organizations ready, or are we actually now seeing what is the next use case, but how do we get there?
Yeah.
And which phase are organizations?
Well, yeah, what we're seeing with our customers for their productivity workers, so the employees that are typically using some of our products like our IT service management workspace or our customer service workspace, HR workspaces, places where productivity workers were fulfilling requests, typically processing things, providing resolutions. We've been able to turn on AI-powered solutions quite quickly in those situations because they're very highly trained on data that we've seen across the landscape of our customers, basically. So things like summarizing a case, providing resolution notes, creating a knowledge base article, helping those employees even draft communications to the person that made the request, whether that's a chat response or an email communication and so on. Those have been very easy for our customers to deploy. And they show value very, very quickly because these are usually people where you've got a large number of people doing repetitive tasks that we can help accelerate and make much more effective and streamlined. And you see the dividends on that quite quickly. We are also seeing that for our builders who are building ServiceNow solutions and using things like our build agents and, doing conversational development, basically. That's been very, very easy to deploy. The piece where we all know that like bad data it makes for a bad AI experience. So I would say the piece that usually requires a little bit more data hygiene, content hygiene, and cleansing is in the requester experience where you can have an employee or a customer service, requester come in and there's such a breadth of what they might ask for. And then typically there's quite a repository of information on the other side. And we all need to make sure that the AI agents are accessing really good data, right? And so that's usually where there's maybe a little bit more preparation that has to go into making sure the data is in good standing, the knowledge is in good standing, so that the information that gets surfaced in that experience is accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned the AI control tower to ensure governance compliance. It's obviously probably, I'm saying, important, or how important is it for building trust in exactly this AI future or AI first or AI platform, especially as well with the regulations like the EU AI Act?
Yeah, well, our AI control tower is exactly suited for that. And it's I think as excited as everyone is to see the benefits of AI, becomes, a bigger responsibility around data security, making sure that the AI agents are acting as expected. And there's also an aspect of return on investment, right? Making sure that if you've deployed AI agents, are they getting used? Are they getting leveraged, right? Are they adopted? So the AI control tower helps with all of that. So you can really see the landscape of where you've invested, where you have AI agents working for you, evaluate their productivity, evaluate their usage and adoption, and also see immediately if something has kind of gone out of compliance or is not within a certain regulatory, aspect, that it can be fixed very quickly. And then we're also using the AI control tower to surface new opportunities for agentic solutions too. So it's a win-win situation for our customers because they can, respond on, or they can evaluate the value of their AI investment and also take action really quickly if anything is not compliant.
I would like to pick one quote that I heard from before from the media briefing, that one vision is the zero service or the first level service kind of being automated by AI. How close are we to that? Is that the real reality?
Yeah, well, I think if you take a step back, the things that AI does best are the repeatable, predictable types of activities, right? Where there's an existing pattern and you can mirror that pattern. So for that tier one agent, right? So for the incoming, maybe simpler requests that are usually high volume, but quite repeatable and predictable, that's where agentic solutions are fantastic. And I wouldn't say that it's about replacing the person that did that work, but it's about replacing a lot of the mundane work that they might have done and helping elevate their work to more sophisticated work. So they're not doing that repetitive, repeatable, predictable type of solution. They're spending more time on the things that are unique and that maybe aren't as predictable.
And to come back to the second question I asked about what could you transfer from the consumer experience platform to the enterprise experience platform? Are we seeing that now with the AI platform? Is it that way? You said exactly that's how?
Oh, absolutely. I think the future is a much simpler experience when it comes to using technology. And so I think that conversational experience where you can ask a question, you can get the help you need, will be the way forward in terms of how people interact with technology. I also think as we move into things like generative UI, it means that you can ask, what are my top issues that I need to focus on today? We can bring you in a data visualization that shows you exactly that information and the graphical affordances you might need to interact and do your work without you having to navigate through the complexity of a bunch of different applications. So I think more and more this conversational experience will continue to grow in its richness and its productivity enhancing capabilities to where you can probably do increasingly more and more of your work in that one space without having to leave and go elsewhere.
Yeah. And one final question is now talking about all what AI might be able to take over. Where does this leave the human, and where do you see the humans remaining indispensable in the future?
Yeah, well, we talked about that earlier today too. And I do think that you need human creativity and you need critical thinking and you need vision. And that doesn't come from robotic solutions, right? Because AI intrinsically repeats history to some degree. So you need humans to come with the creative vision of what they need to achieve. So I still believe that we all need to be focused on how we serve other humans. What is the human need? What is the problem that needs to be solved? What are the new ways to do that? And you have to be the tastemaker and the curator of that vision to orchestrate the AI. Essentially, we're all the orchestra conductors of the AI at this point. But that takes vision and that takes the creativity to understand what the new and innovative solution is.
Yeah. Thank you, Amy, for sharing your insights and with us and all about this new ServiceNow Zurich release. It was a pleasure.
You're very welcome. It was great to be here. Thank you.